Well, good morning. It's Monday morning, and today we are reading Romans 14, 7 through 12. For none of us lives to himself, and none of us dies to himself. For if we live to the Lord, and if we die to the Lord. So then, whether we live or whether we die, we are the Lord's. For to this end Christ died and lived again, that he might be Lord, both of the dead and of the living. So why do you pass judgment on your brother? Or why do you despise your brother? For we will all stand before the judgment seat of God, for it is written, As I live, says the Lord, every knee shall bow to me, and every tongue shall confess to God. So then, each of us will give an account of himself to God. I like that verse where he says, whether we live or die, we belong to the Lord. Something similar is said in Philippians, I believe. But Paul's saying here, we don't have to judge each other. If you don't eat meat and someone else does, that's all immaterial because we all belong to Jesus. And that's the sort of the bottom line for him. We all belong to Christ, and we all are servants of the same Lord, and so we should all get along and not judge each other and make all these distinctions. That's what he's trying to teach. And he goes on to say, of course, that it's we're all going to stand before God, and we're all going to bow the knee, and so we're all give an account of ourselves to God, and so we should look at our behavior and adjust it accordingly. Because we don't live and die for ourselves, we live and die for the Lord and in the Lord. He's going to go on to talk a little bit more about this in the next part of the chapter, but we'll get to that in the next day or two. But for now, how do you live? Do we live for ourselves, or do we live for the Lord? Do we live for our own fulfillment and our own wishes and our own desires, or do we live seeking to do the things that Jesus calls us to do? Seeking to feed the poor, take care of the lonely, and visit those who need a visit in prison or in the hospital or somewhere. And all of us can do these things. I mean, you may not know this, but a cell phone, you can actually make a phone call on it. No one knows that. It's a feature that's ignored, but you can punch the numbers and somebody else will answer, and you could talk to people. So you don't have to go anywhere to visit with people. And I think the pandemic made that clear to us. You can use the phone and encourage people who are sick, or who are lonely, or who are in mourning, or who are afraid, or whatever their issue might be. You can encourage them, and it doesn't take special training. You just call them up and say, "How you doing?" And they'll talk, and you listen, and then at the end they say, "Thanks for calling," and you say, "No problem." And all you've done is ask one question. You could do this. So think about that. Think about what you can do for God, for Jesus, in your context today, and see what you can do. And we will see you tomorrow morning.